Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're a C-suite exec or IT director staring down a massive transition from VMware Cloud Foundation to bare metal infrastructure, you already know the stakes. But today we're not just going to talk about cables and hypervisors. We are diving straight into what is arguably the most critical part of Chapter 6 in our source material, the human side of this transition. Because honestly, if you get the people right, the technology will absolutely follow. Let's get into it.
To get there, we're going to hit 6 key areas. 1. The Migration Success Mandate. 2. Assessing your skills and stack. 3. Pre-migration training and governance. 4. Mid-migration training under fire. 5. Change management and resilience. And finally, 6. We'll wrap up with a solid 30-day action plan.
Let's start with a hard truth, and it's literally the foundation of everything we're discussing today. Training readiness is migration readiness, period. If you treat your team's training as some secondary, nice-to-have checklist item instead of your actual operational foundation, you are taking a massive risk. Think about it. If your engineers aren't ready, all that shiny new hardware is just highly expensive, powered-off metal.
All right, moving into Part 1, the Migration Success Mandate.
So, you and your teams are facing what we call the abstraction gap. For years, your staff has lived in this beautifully abstracted virtual world of VCF. But moving to bare metal, that means mastering the raw physical realities of server lifecycle management all over again. Imagine your top virtual networking engineers suddenly having to stare down a Dell iDRAC interface, configuring BIOS and RAID controllers completely from scratch. That void in physical knowledge, that's actually the #1 cause of extended outages during a migration. It's a huge gap to bridge.
Which brings us to Part 2, assessing skills and stack.
Now, you absolutely cannot jump the gun on training. First things first, you have to lock in your specific infrastructure stack. Are we talking Proxmox or Hyper-V, Cisco, Aruba, or Juniper? Procuring training before you've confirmed these vendors is literally just burning capital. A Cisco CCNA track is a completely different beast from an Aruba ACSA track, right? So decide the tech first and then train the talent.
And look, ambiguity here completely kills momentum. You need to establish a really strict, racy matrix: who is responsible, accountable, consulted, and informed. You have to define exactly who assigns the training, who actually delivers it, and who is tracking its completion. In a project of this massive scale, if everyone thinks somebody else is tracking certification exams, well, nobody is.
Moving right along to Part 3, Pre-Migration Training and Governance.
Before anyone even touches a server, you've got to establish your point of no return. This is that predefined technical threshold. Maybe it's when the final production workload leaves VCF, or when your licenses are officially not renewed. Basically, it's when the migration becomes truly irreversible. And why does this matter so much? Because this is your trigger for external announcements. You want your legal and procurement teams engaging with your current vendors on your timeline safely without some premature disclosure forcing an unexpected audit or just a really awkward conversation.
Let's look at the storage pivot as a prime example. Abstract vSAN policies, things like erasure coding and failures to tolerate, they have absolutely no direct equivalent in physical hardware. Your storage admins literally have to rewire their brains and retrain on physical protocols like RAID 5 and 6. They have to relearn what normal performance even looks like on a new Pure Storage or NetApp baseline compared to the vSAN metrics they're used to. It's a whole new ballgame.
To govern all this training effectively, you need to enforce 3 non-negotiable rules. First, strict phase gates. No manager sign-off on prerequisite training, then no migration, period. Second, dedicated hands-on lab hours. Let's be real, a multiple-choice exam does not build operational confidence. And third, you need dedicated budget line items for backfill coverage. Your engineers simply cannot learn advanced routing if they are constantly drowning in help desk tickets.
Okay, Part 4, Mid-Migration Training Under Fire.
Here's the reality. Under the heavy load of a full infrastructure migration, hardware is going to fail. It's pretty much a certainty. But you have to treat these high-stress faults as irreplaceable, real-time curriculum moments. Your very first bare metal OS installs and RAID configurations are incredibly high-value training events. Make sure a senior engineer is physically present, logging every single BIOS decision. Because these live failure modes, they can never be perfectly reproduced in a safe little sandbox environment.
When the inevitable fire drill hits, structure your response. You need clear P1 and P2 triggers and escalation paths. But you know what the real secret sauce is? The mandatory 15-minute post-incident debrief. After a fire is put out, don't just sigh in relief and move on. Huddle up, document the root cause, and immediately feed those hard-won lessons back into your living runbooks. That is how you build a rock-solid internal knowledge base purely from real-world operational experience.
On to Part 5, Change Management and Resilience.
As a strategic leader, you are actively managing the human layer here. First off, communicate daily wins. Teams that actually see progress are way more resilient under stress. Second, keep a close eye out for early burnout signals or skill anxiety and intervene with support before it becomes a massive project risk. And finally, you have to explicitly reframe supervised errors as mandatory learning events, not failures. If an engineer misconfigures a VLAN during a supervised cutover, that's a successful stress test of their training. It is absolutely not a reason for a reprimand.
Which brings us to our final section, Part 6, your 30-day action plan.
Let's distill these concepts from Chapter 6 into a concrete action plan you can kick off right now. Week 1. Launch a structured skills inventory across your entire IT staff to map out those bare metal blind spots. By Week 2, confirm your target stack, your hypervisors, networking, and storage, and shortlist those vendors. Week 3, use that inventory to build a role-based training matrix and formally submit your budget requests. Fight for that backfill and lab time. And finally, Week 4, identify your migration champions and get them enrolled in the first training cohort. When they succeed, they become the walking proof of concept for the rest of your organization.
Remember what we said at the start. Training readiness is migration readiness. You can't just start this process at project kickoff, you have to start right now. Every single week you delay compresses your training runway and exponentially increases your risk of a failed cutover. So I'll leave you with this question. Looking at that 30-day plan, what concrete steps will you take today to ensure your people are just as robust as your brand new physical hardware? Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and best of luck with your migration.